Welcome, guys. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Playdesk. My name is Syed, and today I'm going to talk about the path to becoming a cloud engineer. Super, super exciting, right? Well, if you're a beginner and you are venturing into cloud computing and you're looking for your first job, then this video is for you. So let's talk about what a cloud engineer is, or rather, I've talked about it, right? Check out my previous video. I've explained the difference between the solutions architect and a cloud engineer. But here I'm going to focus strictly and primarily on how do you actually go and find a job as a cloud engineer, or you have a few certifications under your belt, or if you're just getting onto the journey. All right, so if you're ready to soar to new heights in your career and you're passionate about cloud computing, if so, then becoming a cloud engineer definitely is for you, right? And if you are certainly passionate about technology and eager to make an impact in the ever evolving world of cloud computing, if so, then the engineer might just be a perfect fit for you. Now, a diverse group of professionals working collaboratively, right, in a modern space is skyrocketing because globally, the virtual teams are working, whether they're developers, whether they're operation teams, everyone is working so-called remotely. Well, essentially, practical remote work is the thing of today. And enterprise companies basically save on tons and tons of money when they hire remote workers like cloud engineers. But that comes with certain challenges as well, right? Because how do you manage teams and whatnot? But that's a separate thing. But right now, let's focus on that you're a cloud engineer. How do you actually find a job? So, cloud technology has become a backbone of businesses worldwide. And we know that, right? That enables organizations to innovate, scale, transform like never before. So, as a cloud engineer, what do, right? You play a pivotal role in shaping the future of technology, driving innovation, and ensuring seamless cloud infrastructure for businesses globally or whichever company you're working for, right? So, a cloud engineer basically passionately discusses and works on the ecosystem, whether you're working with AWS platform, whether you're working on GCP, or you're working with Microsoft Azure. So, it doesn't really matter. But once you're in the field, what do you do? How do you find a job? Where do you go? Whether you have a certification or not. So if not, certifications definitely validate your expertise and significantly enhances your credibility, by the way. So if you are an AWS certified cloud practitioner or an AWS certified solutions architect at associate level, perfect. It doesn't really matter. But at least having a basic foundational level certification is definitely recommended and highly recommended. And you can check out different courses right here on YouTube for free. I have a full 15-hour course, a 3-hour course on how you get certified with all hands-on knowledge. So just have to follow the course along, and of course have an AWS free tier account, and that's all you need, guys. But you've passed all of that. Now you're in the market and you will not want to be able to find a job. Where do you go? Well, the first thing I recommend is definitely create your CV, right? And this is going to be the primary document, right, if you will, where people are going to look at, the recruiters are going to look at, the hiring managers are going to look at that. And then, of course, you need to basically look at and work with how and where you post your resume, okay? The LinkedIn, by the way, if you don't have a professional account on LinkedIn, make sure you do it. Go check out my profile. That'll give you some solid understanding and idea as to what do you do and where do you go, right? So create a profile on LinkedIn, all right? And start to network with individuals, with colleagues or like minded. Join some groups. Maybe you want to join a DevOps community group, maybe the solutions architect community group, or a cloud engineer at large. So go find those groups and just join in. Listen to what professionals are saying. And that's very helpful because once you start to absorb all of the conversations that are happening on LinkedIn, that's going to give you a solid area as to where you can go and actually find and take a look at what's happening in the community, right? What's happening in the DevOps space? What's happening in the cloud computing space? That'll give you a solid idea and understanding as to, all right, this is where I am. These are my skills. How do I get to know these people? How do I network? So create a LinkedIn profile. Now, just by creating a profile, nothing's going to happen, right? You got to take some action. And what I recommend is after you create a solid profile, list your projects, list your certifications, list your experience, if any. Well, let's say you don't have any experience. Let's say you're just starting off from scratch, right? And this is your, let's say you're changing your career and you just ventured into cloud computing and you just gained a couple of certifications and you have certain knowledge of hands-on projects. Well, typically it doesn't matter which job you look at, you will notice that they always look for experience, right? 3 years experience, 2 years, 5 years. So do not get disheartened. Just apply to those jobs. You'll be surprised by the feedback that you're going to get. Make sure you list your projects on your resume and make sure you have certifications because, of course, that shows your credibility, like I mentioned earlier, right? So once you have your CV or your resume in place and you have a LinkedIn account, you start to network with like-minded people, like-minded individuals, your professional colleagues, or just join communities and get into discussions, post discussions. So make yourself visible. That's the goal, right? So once you make yourself visible, write some articles here and there, what you've learned, write about it, right? Share with the community. And that's when people will start to look at you and say, hey, well, this is so and so, and wow, that's pretty cool, right? That's some good insight. So that's your first step. Once you've done that, the next step, and very, very important step, is to make sure that you are connecting with recruiters. Okay? Now, recruiters are going to reach out to you. Once you have a profile on LinkedIn, by the way, trust me, you'll be receiving some messages from recruiters once you apply to those jobs. And LinkedIn is a great profile, it allows you to apply to those jobs. I'm going to give you another platform, but let me first talk about LinkedIn primarily. All right, so connect with recruiters, talk to them, have a conversation with them, set up a time with them, set up a meeting, explain where you are, what your skill set is, okay? Because recruiters are constantly looking for individuals with a specific skill set. For example, let's say within your cloud computing journey, you are good at Kubernetes or Docker. Okay, well, that's the skill that you develop, and that's something that you're really passionate about, right? So you focus most of your energy working with Kubernetes clusters and work on a few projects. Again, not at a high level skills, guys, but at least you have a solid understanding of how Kubernetes work, how containers work, and the concept of EKS, ECS if you're working on an AWS platform. So once you've done that, recruiters are going to find out, and if you have conversations with them, then yeah, they will know your skill set, they will know your experience, they would be willing to find you an entry level job. Okay, and yeah, but you have to take action. You can't just post your resume and create a LinkedIn profile and say, hey, now I'm here, come get me. That's probably not going to happen in the first place. So you would have to take the initiative, make sure you reach out to recruiters, make sure you tell them who you are, what your skill set is, what you're learning, what projects you've done, right? And that's important. All right, so once you start networking with recruiters themselves or hiring managers, there are certain jobs, there are many, many jobs that are posted directly by the company. Okay, and that would be your great way in those entry level positions because the demand is there. The whole idea is demand and supply, guys, right? Tech industry's shortage of skilled individuals. So if you have some skills, well, hey, you're going to get in, but you have to take the initiative. You have to reach out to them. You must, you know, contact them, send them a message, or set up meetings. Now, once that's done, you are going to start getting in messages, and of course, maybe set up some basic interviews. Well, you're at least half of the job is done because half of the job is finding, the right people to connect to, and then talking to the right people, and then getting yourself into an interview. Now, once you schedule an interview for a job, whether it's entry level, of course, if you're new, because this video is all about beginners with no experience. What do you do at the interview, right? Well, go check out my stream. I've done a video, I've done a podcast on DevOps, for example, or cloud engineers, basic interview questions. And I've listed all of them extensively because when I interview individuals, I've listed those questions, what I'm looking for, the skill set that I'm looking for. So you'll have firsthand knowledge and information about what to expect and what to answer and how to answer it, because it's a structured process, guys, right? It's not something that's here and there. It's basically structured. There are only typical set of questions that are being asked. Okay, nothing new is going to come in. It's only those questions from, basic set of questions, a pool of questions, I should say, right? 10, 15, 20 questions, and then they just get rotated from job to job to job, because hiring managers and recruiters, we don't have innovative questions, guys, right? It's just a set of canned questions every single time. And here's the reason why, because if you're working with AWS, for example, and there will be so many questions that are going to be asked about Kubernetes and Docker. So if you're prepared, then definitely you will get an offer letter from those companies, because they're looking for skills and they're looking for certifications. So, and of course, if you need to take a look at the details on what interview questions, please go check out that video that I just mentioned, or the podcast right here on our channel at Claydesk eLearning, or you can go to blog.claydesk.com to download the additional resources. I have PDFs on our blog as well. So make sure you go and read and prepare for those interview questions. So this is just a three-step process that I mentioned, right? For LinkedIn, post your resume, post your CV, connect with recruiters, hiring managers, and of course, set up interviews, times, join a community, understand what's going on in the cloud computing space. And then once you schedule an interview, of course, then you can just follow along with these certain question and answers. And for that, go check out that video, that podcast. All right, another site that I want to, before I conclude, is dice.com. Okay, go check that site out. Very, very popular, very, very effective. Okay, and you just have to upload the resume, create an account, is free. Just upload the resume and people will reach out. Okay, recruiters are going to reach out, companies are going to reach out, and then they will take a look at your resume, and then of course they will set up an interview. So another very effective site. All right, so I wanted to give you how to find a job as a cloud engineer within the cloud computing space. Specifically, either you're working with AWS ecosystem or Google Cloud or Azure, doesn't really matter. Pretty much all platforms are the same, just the names are different, right? For example, in Microsoft Azure, the storage is called blob storage, and in AWS, it's called S3 bucket. So the functionality is essentially the same. The names are different because companies are different. All right, so let me know if you have any questions. Make sure you comment down below. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video and you find the content valuable. I certainly appreciate that. Thanks for watching. My name is Syed, and I'll see you guys next time.